Ulster County was devastated by a lot of the extreme weather that we've had this year.
We've had the land and ice storm in February and 2 severe thunderstorms in July, one of which was an F1 tornado.
Ulster has experienced just this year a macro burst, a micro burst, straight line winds, documented tornadoes, and a waterspout.
We saw a lot of heavy damage, specifically broken poles, large number of broken poles. The ice storm in particular was slow-going restoration. It was very difficult to pick up large outages all at once.
You have to kind of think of the Mid-Hudson Valley as being the battleground between two air masses that have kind of been lingering with us for quite some time. The air mass around a high pressure is clockwise, right? So if you picture a clock spinning out over the Atlantic, it's bringing warm, moist air up from the south, right? Up the East Coast. At the same time, New York's relative location to Canada means there's also always cold fronts and cooler air masses coming down from the northwest. And it's where those two meet that you create this battleground of repetitive thunderstorms, slow-moving cold fronts that stall out and can't make it further south because of that bubble of high pressure that's been keeping southeastern New York so dry.
When you get out here in the more rural areas, in the Ellenville territory and your Stanfordville territories, you have a lot of miles of wire but less customers, making the travel time longer to get to the outages and making a lot more territory to patrol to be able to find the problem and put the power back on.
Central Hudson has made a very pointed effort to put a lot of our capital budget towards storm hardening efforts. Storm hardening is a way of increasing the resiliency of our infrastructure, which makes it better able to withstand adverse weather, which will improve the service reliability for our customers.
And this project going on right behind us here in Ellenville on the 3076 circuit, and these crews, the Kingston Project construction crews, are going to be taking this line out of the woods right on the main line circuitry to drastically improve the reliability to this area.
A lot of the resilience involves upgrading poles, cross arms, insulators, transformers, and other assets on our distribution system to bring up to more stringent standards and using more modern technology.
When you have something as stubborn as a high pressure, which can park and not move for months on end, it creates very repetitive muscle memory type weather across specific parts, not just in Ulster and Dutchess, but all the way across to New England along that same line. There's towns and cities experiencing very repetitive weather as well.
Central Hudson has been investing a lot also in smart grid. This, in a big picture, when there's an outage, out in the field we have real-time sensors and monitoring devices that will detect what area the fault is in, who has been interrupted, how we can use our devices to isolate the problem area, and then immediately restore customers upstream and downstream of the outage. We are prioritizing our capital investments based on where our problem areas are and how many customers that are being affected by these reliability issues. We are judiciously spending the ratepayers' money to get the customer service reliability best bang for the buck, so to speak.
To say what next spring and winter will look like all depends on how those bigger scale weather patterns linger, don't linger, break down, strengthen, so on and so forth.
You know, one thing to remember through all these storms that we experience here in Hudson Valley, all of our employees, we're all Hudson Valley residents ourselves. Plenty of these storms, our line crews and our supervision and all employees go home to dark homes themselves with no power. So, you know, restoring power to our community is a #1 priority. Proud that our line crews live in the Hudson Valley. They're our #1 experts in putting power back on when the power goes off. The absolute best resources we have are our line crews.